AI is going to create 97 million jobs, but it will also eliminate 85 million jobs. There's a concept we call AI agents. Now imagine having 3-4 AI agents and you can just throw an idea and let them have a discussion. You have a coach, a business strategist, a lawyer, a doctor, all of it available in your pocket. My digital assistant will talk to your digital assistant to find out what's your availability.
So do you think Google will remain relevant in the next 5 years?
If you ask me, in 5 years,
Abrar Siddiqui is an expert on artificial intelligence. He's showing us how AI will change our lives forever and why the Google era might be coming to an end. Machines are learning like human beings. Do you think AI will be emotionally intelligent?
we understand the signs of different emotions, being angry and sad at a technical level. So it's there. What we should look at AI is, these are like a digital companion, assistant. You don't need like 10, 20 people to start anything.
How are we going to make sure that AI is utilized in a way that it doesn't end up destroying the world?
The consequences here are very hard.
If everything is going to be done by machines or AI, what is going to be left for us to do?
So
Thank you everyone for your great support and comments on each of the episodes. We've been working really hard to bring you great guests and content. And it's only going to get better from here onwards. Your support means a lot to us. Do hit that subscribe button. Let's make it happen and make it count. Abrar, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
thank you. It's good to be here.
Great, thank you. My relationship with the ChatGPT is getting stronger and stronger by the day. I have it on my phone and I talk to it all the time. But I think as far as AI goes, that's about it. So from today's conversation, what I want to know is how I can use artificial intelligence in my life on a day-to-day basis. And you are an artificial intelligence expert. We want to learn a lot from you today. Now, I'll have a question for you to start off. If you can just explain to me in very simple terms, what is AI or artificial intelligence?
Thank you for having me, first of all. Yeah, so AI, in technical terms, obviously, it's a piece of technology. But one of the definition that I like to explain, like in current form, what we should look at AI is, these are like a digital companions, assistants. These are tools that have been developed, they're continuously being improved, that are here to help us in our personal life, in our work, in other areas, and they will continue to provide us with assistance and help in a lot of things. In technical terms, when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's been developed. So without going into a lot of technical details about machine learning and deep learning, but the main idea is this technology is something that is learning as we go along, and that's why the part intelligence. Because what humans as people, what we do is we've learned few things. So I always have to give this example, like when we were children, how we were learning. So we saw pictures of like dogs, that we saw certain pictures of dogs, and then that's how we learned that this is a dog or this is a cat. Same way earlier, when machine learning models were developed, they were trained. They were given 100 or so pictures of dogs, and then when a new picture was coming up, it could tell if it's a dog or not. And that was a whole part of developing intelligence instead of it being programmed. So previously, all the old technologies, you would say, you're already given that this is what it is. If you see this picture, then it's what. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's more like you trained it on a certain amount of data, and now it's coming up with its own thing. And this is where now, so ChatGPT is actually one of the more popular ones that became popular 2 years back. But AI, it's been in our lives in many places. When we use Netflix, the recommendation, so it's already, based on things you've been watching, consuming. That's been there for some time. That's why you see it over there. If you use Spotify, it builds your own personalized library. When we see YouTube, you watch certain videos, and then based on that, if you notice, it gives you certain recommendations. It always tells you of a new episodes coming up, right? So if for the viewers of this podcast, now nobody's telling them that a new episode is going to come out, but if they've seen few episodes, whenever new episode will come out, it'll show up without them searching. So this is the whole AI, which is actually it's prevalent in a lot of our lives. And as people, we are now getting access to tools like ChatGPT. There's Microsoft has its tool, Microsoft Copilot, Google Assistant. Um, everybody has their version of ChatGPT as well. All the big tech companies,
Yeah.
and they're becoming more available to us.
Just stepping backwards a little, comparing ChatGPT with Google. Now, Google has been out there for 2 decades, or a little more. What we understand of Google is it's a library of websites. You want to search some information, and if it is on a website, you go on the search and type something, whatever you're looking for, and that website will potentially come up based on the ranking systems. So it's a library of websites. AI, in this case, for example, ChatGPT, I guess that bot essentially takes the information from Google or somewhere and then analyzes it and gives you an answer based on its own learning and experience. Is that how it works?
To some extent, right? So just to explain a little bit more, Google is, what their main thing is, they've indexed the entire internet. So they have a very, very efficient way to give you, when you ask a certain question, like, what is the best restaurant in Dubai? It has base developed systems and all, so it already has that information in the way. When it comes to Chat GPT, the difference is it's been trained. So a lot of that data information was there. So the early version, they had a cutoff. I think it was like November 2020. So if you remember previously, it would not give you more recent information. Then they trained it. Now it's available. What ChatGPT is doing is it's always generating a new, unique answer. So depending on, so one thing you might notice, if you ask certain questions, especially where there's some opinion involved, if you ask the same question 4 or 5 times, it will give you a different type of answer. In Google, if you ask a certain question, it will most likely give you same sort of search result unless you start changing the query. Like unless you say, if you ask certain things, then if you change that question, the answer will change. But so Chat GPT is comes from this family. We call it generative AI. So there's a term Gen AI is also known, and that's what that's what G in GPT stand for, in the sense. So every time you're asking, it is generating new, in a way, original content. It's not saved anywhere, and depending on your question, and then you can actually have a conversation. It also retains that information. Like for example, you ask it, like, what is the best restaurant in Dubai? It will go to some information that's there and it'll give it, but then you can ask it like, okay, give me best one based on like vegetarian or a certain type, or give me, and you can have ongoing conversation like that in that
That's
way.
correct. So, for a layman's understanding, what AI has done is it's created an analysis on top of the information that is already currently available. The machines are learning like human beings, and they are creating an analysis based response. So, in a way, I think Google is a past case in my books. I mean, I haven't used Google for a number of months actually, but when I need real time information or some information where I can understand a concept better, I always go to ChatGPT and try and develop a conversation with it like I would have done with a human being. I get much better responses. And I think it's just an amazing thing that has happened in this world, and it's going to take us to to the next level in our journey. It's just phenomenal. And what are the other current systems where we're using AI, but we don't realize that AI is being actually used?
Actually, AI has been so. Just to go back a little bit, AI is something. ChatGPT has brought it in the forefront recently, but there's a lot of work that has been going on in AI for a long time, mostly in the research area. So the term AI was coined in 1950s, and but during the 60s, 70s, when anybody spoke about AI, it was all like science fiction. So people like, but a lot of developments that happened in the research industry, in the academia, and previously, like I worked with at IBM, and on the Watson AI side of things. Um like we know this at I think there was a big famous chess game which I was developed by IBM Watson.
Yes,
And that was I think year 2010. That was the first time
that's
a
right. Yes,
computer defeated a human
absolutely.
on a game which was not, it was a strategy game, chess. So that's where it got a lot of boost. And so based on that, the artificial intelligence AI has been embedded in a lot of areas, which is about predictions, modeling. So airlines been using it in the sense, and there's many categories in terms of how to come up with the best pricing strategy, how to come up in those things. What the modern one that we are finding which is more useful for every a day-to-day person is in the areas about what you call content generation, like because what we're doing is now AI is available, it can generate new things, writing. We can talk to AI and ask it to like give us some ideas. We can give it uh, give us a something we have, ask it to improve. If you've written a document, we can actually ask it to give it some 4 points and ask it to create a whole document. It's doing that, which is something we as consumers want to use. It's being used in image generation, video generation. So now we're at that point, and it's happened over, I would say, last 2 3 years, where a lot of day-to-day consumer applications have come out, and they're also very easily available. Some of them are free or very small price that are available, and a lot of areas are being really utilized in this way, where it's available now. So another way I would like to say it is like for an everyday person, like before 2 3 years back, when you want to do something very sophisticated, you had to buy a very expensive software in most cases. Uh, when you talk about images and photo editing, there's Photoshop, Adobe. I, the licenses, I think, very expensive. So it's not available to a normal person. But when with Chat GPT, their family, the DALI, there's a thing, there's a company, there's even Google has multiple offerings in this area that you can easily just type that I want like this image of like a family enjoying a time at beach, and it can generate an image, original image, and then you can tell it, okay, change this, change that. So it's made things accessible, very easy to do, and very cheap to do. That's what
That's
the big difference has
that's
been.
an amazing thing. I was reading this book the other day. Singularity is near. It's by Ray Kurzweil. It's one of the
Yes.
most well-known books on science and humanity. So what he says essentially is that by 2040, the average processing speed and power of a computer will be more than the entire humanity taken together. Just imagine the power that a computer will have. And of course, it'll have the AI as one of the central themes. It's just scary to think about that. It's just very, very scary. Uh,
Yeah. I think, look, a lot of time we talk about technology and AI, and there's a lot of these doomsday scenarios. Like for me, it's like Terminator 2. That is
mhm.
a movie. There's a lot of movies been made where they essentially are telling us that the robots will take over, machines will take over. The way I think we should look at it is essentially, it's true what you mentioned. We call this compute power. So compute power is becoming, it's the law of scaling. We have scaling laws. Every year we're seeing a 10x improvement. And where it helps is basically to develop these AI technologies, we need a lot of training has to be done on lots of data now, which is very, very expensive. So, when you look at ChatGPT, Google, and Microsoft, all these companies who have all these different AI technologies, they're spending vast amounts of like billions of dollars to train, to develop these technologies. But over time, these are getting cheaper and cheaper for them to train
Yeah.
and for us to have them to consume. And that is just a scaling law. All technologies evolve according to time. The only, I personally find the difference is the rate of change is very, very fast.
It's exponential in my view.
And it's very, and there's a lot of so every month, like 1 month, OpenAI will announce, we've got this new feature
Yeah.
in this thing. Then Microsoft will announce something. Google has their own family of models, Gemini, Meta, Facebook, and all. They are actually very active, and I also like them. They have in the open space. You saw this thing called Google released this called Note LLM.
Yes.
So you can
that's
give it a
right.
document and
It can create a podcast like this, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, I was listening to this the other day on LinkedIn, and when I completed the podcast, I heard it, and then I was thinking it's a beautiful piece someone has created, and then the person who's published it, he made a disclaimer that it was AI generated. It was amazing.
So this just happened 4 weeks back.
That's
So you were
just
talking
amazing.
about Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not going to Google, but
Yeah.
Google has its own family of products in
Yeah.
AI called Gemini.
Yeah.
They're coming up with certain things. Same time, Microsoft's coming with things. Amazon is coming. So all these companies are doing certain things, and then we have all these startups
Yeah.
like ChatGPT is a more popular known one, but one that I've used, it's another company backed by Amazon. It's called Anthropic. They have another model called Claude. And Claude Sonnet 3.5. That's the latest version, similar to ChatGPT. So again, for me, the way I look at it, right? I don't want to live in a world where ChatGPT is the only thing. I don't think anybody wants that, because that would mean like we can only do whatever OpenAI, which is backed by Microsoft, doing. We want to be in a world where multiple
There are
companies
options, of
are
course, yeah.
giving us things based on what works for me that I use. So I use ChatGPT, I use Claude 3.5 Sonnet, depending on what I'm doing.
Let's talk about a little about the use of AI by businesses. I mean, we've been talking about the creation of these tools by businesses, where the AI can help us and other businesses, or businesses in general. What is it that businesses doing, utilizing the AI to improve their operations and their own marketing, sales, and what have you? What is the impact that they are trying to create using AI?
The way I see it is, for a business, it was very hard, expensive and hard to hire software developers or engineers.
True.
Which were one, expensive. You had to go deal with some technology company who would create a project. Now, with the use of AI technologies, you can get one or two somewhat technical people who understand how to work with these technologies, and then you can put something together. Like, if you have an idea and you have the capability, or I would say curiosity, to learn few things are available for you to build your own, like a little app. Now you don't need, previously when you thought about, okay, a lot of people had, I'm sure you thought of, okay, there should be an app that could do this, right?
Yeah, true. So what about the customer behavior of employees, for example, understanding their needs and wants better? Are the companies currently using any systems to better understand the sort of manpower and the customer needs and wants and behaviors?
Yeah, I think that goes more into what you call like data analytics product that have all are there. They're getting much better, more into the whole machine learning side of things. So companies are, one thing is they understand where the data is, and I've worked with few companies over here myself in terms of how to make better use of this data. So a lot of companies have data on their customers. They've got some reviews, some feedback. Now where do you do that? One example I can give you, the very popular company Sephora. They've actually got they have this thing on their app and all, like, and they're very good dedicated consumer base who gives them feedback. So what they've done is they've taken all that, they've developed a whole AI internally for themselves, which takes all of these reviews and helps them develop new products in terms of what are the different colors, shades are doing that. So this company like Sephora, which is using all the all the reviews that customers are leaving on their products, on their websites, all the Google reviews, they're taking all of them and then giving it to the product development team to develop the products which the consumers are saying, and to do.
That's
So
amazing.
that's something companies are doing. They're able to harness, take all of that, and that's what AI helps. Like there's a mass amount of data, and you can just take all of that and be like, okay, give me the key summary point, something which normally it would take weeks for a normal person to do, to read through it, find all the points. Now within minutes it can tell you, okay, people are saying that they like pink color, or they like beige color for this thing, or they find something like that in this thing.
What
So
about startups? I mean, the new companies that are being set up, new ideas being generated. I mean, do they have these tools at their disposal as well, or it's only mature and bigger organizations that have this as a force that they can use?
so I was saying, now with all of these technologies, tools that are coming up, I mean, this is like the best time for startups and all. Before, there was a time where you needed a lot of people to do things. So now the concept that's developing, a lot of like, you don't need like 10-20 people to start anything. A very sophisticated team of 3-4 people can make use of a lot of these tools. You don't need to, you can do a lot of marketing work, a lot of content creation work. We just spoke about this example. Like you can put in a document, it can generate a audio podcast for you. Times that there is a lot of technologies coming up. Like for example, if you need to do some software development, and now just to be just to be clear, I'm not talking about like very very complex things. You will obviously need more people to do more complex things. But as a startup, if you want to test some new idea without putting in a lot of resources, you can do these things. Just something I would like to share you. There's a more complicated concept, but we call this synthetic data or synthetic users concept. So now there's a technology available. Like basically, I can tell AI that based on like I want to, if there's a product, like you would do a focus group, or you would give some customers to get some feedback. But I can tell AI that I have a product and I want to test this demographic, and you can generate thousands of people like that, and then AI can actually get you quick feedback. So those technologies are also available. So it is what AI is actually doing. I mean, at least I think it's the best time for anyone who's thinking of a new idea or have a startup. They have access to a global pool of talent. That's the other part. Like, you're not limited to one place. You can work with them, and I feel, and it doesn't. You don't have to create something for AI or anything. You just have to be AI enabled in the sense you work more efficiently. You make use of ChatGPT. If nothing else, even with just using ChatGPT to discuss, like you were
You
telling
can
me.
generate many ideas. I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to it every morning. I wake up at 4:30 and 6 o'clock. I'm talking to ChatGPT, generating
Yeah.
ideas. Talking about my
Yeah.
my day's work, and it gives me many inputs which I utilize
And I
every
think
day.
one thing you're sharing with us is that fact that, there's times you want to just have a conversation with someone
Yeah,
without judgment.
yeah.
So that's what I also feel like some of these tools, like at least you know that it's not judging you. You can say all sorts of stupid ideas. You can ask, like, and at least if nothing else, it helps you
you
generate
you
things.
have a it's nearly as human as it can get. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a companion with you. I mean, you just have to talk, get the answers, and they are prompt. I mean, if you're trying to generate ideas with humans or team members, it'll take hours and days for you to come up with ideas. It gives you the answers in flip seconds.
And
It's so
Tariq,
fast.
just to continue, I thought that what's developing, what's coming in next couple of years, there's a concept we call AI agents. So the idea is right now you're talking to,
Yeah.
Chat GPT. It's like a one-to-one. Now imagine having, like you said, like, you can set up 3, 4 AI agents, and you can just throw an idea and let them have a discussion.
Exactly.
And as a, as a business owner, you want to kind of get their opinions, and you can just say, like, you can give them certain personalities. One is a marketing person, one is a legal person. So we are going into that area, and I've looked at some of these concepts, and there's some POCs we've done. But that's coming. That's
Amazing,
coming in
amazing.
the.
I will be developing conversation with you on this now, but before that, I just want to set the basis for the next 10 years. Of course, I mean, we have all this development, and my understanding is that technology growth is always exponential. The way the technology has grown in the last 20 years, it's been exponential. Just maybe 18 years. Think about the iPhone and what happened after the creation of iPhone. How many new industries have been created? How many new jobs have been created? How many industries have vanished completely? And just think about the next 10 or 20 years. If the technology continues to grow at an exponential rate, it's just going to be mind-boggling. It's just going to be huge. So, what I'm trying to sort of get to is that currently, you've rightly said that we in our lives we're using AI. Companies are using AI. Startups are using AI.
Yeah.
But in my understanding, it's still very initial or basic at this stage.
Yes.
What we have potentially in future, it's going to be huge.
Yes. Yes. And it's not far.
It's not far, and the
It's.
way the technology is growing, I see it as a matter of 4 to 5 years. By 2030, there will be significant changes in our working style, in our workplaces, in our lives, in our businesses, in our startups. It's not going to be
Yeah.
very far. So, I mean, let's talk about this example
No,
of
what you're
agents.
saying is basically, the rate of change
It's
is
exponential. It's the Moore's law.
exponential, and it's good, but it's also scary at the same
It
time.
is. It is.
So the issue is, like, both. The way I see it, as at an individual level, at a company level, and at a country level. If you are not adapting to this, so it's a question of, like, that whole debate of if AI is here or not, what's going on. I think personally for me that's done. Now it's only in now there's only is the world is getting divided into two different groups. Either you are AI enabled or you're not.
Yeah.
And the more you at this stage, the more you understand, the more you learn, get into the details. both for yourself, individually, in your personal life, for your company or whatever work you do, and any form of work, and then at a society level, at a government level, all of these things, and the rate is very,
It
very,
is. It is
very, very, very
phenomenal.
sharp. Like I said, so much competition for all these companies going on, and that's what's contributing towards it.
Correct. So let's come back to the example of human agents that you talked about a few minutes back. So it seems like that era is not far away. Maybe in a year or two, I'm looking at this possibility personally, having a personal assistant in the form of an app. Perhaps you don't need a physical robot at all. So that personal assistant will understand you as a human being and will take care of the entire day's work for you. I mean, managing my diary, for example, managing my appointments, managing my phone calls, talking to different experts, and sort of making my life easier, right? How do you foresee this happening?
I think a lot of this is kind of like basically what technology does. Like, for example, a personal assistant, when you think of it, it's like, something a lot of like big business owners, CEOs, like it's like a luxury concept. Not everybody thinks that they can have it. Even a lot of companies and they can't think of it, right? But what technology's been doing, it makes these things more accessible, cheaper. It becomes available to everyone. And the example I would give you is, like in my grandfather's time, airline travel was a luxury. This is something which either people who are very rich would do it, or like government people used to do it, and like things like that. So my grandfather in his lifetime took one airline flight, uh, that's because it was such a, and again was also not available. Right now today, like taking flights is a common thing, right? Because it's
Yes.
become cheaper, accessible, and all that. So it's the same concept that is being applied. But like we said, now today we have a personal assistant which will available to us. In some ways, it is there. We're going to have this army of AI agents that will be able to do this. So, and these things are, by the way, the AI agents are already here. Google made some announcements around it. OpenAI's newer models are working with this thing. These are coming up. What we talk about is more personalized, like AI, like for example, like ChatGPT and similar technologies. They would know you better. They would understand your preferences better. And the other thing that is happening is a lot of work happening on voice, which also is personally my area of interest. Uh, Voice, we refer to as like multimodal, in the sense now you talk more in terms of, you give an image and give instructions with voice, which is more of a, be, an, a more advanced form of artificial intelligence, instead of just writing, like typing in the prompt, that you can give instructions over voice. Then the AI
That's right.
understands,
That's right.
and then it can generate a response either in voice or an image. So these are the things that are coming up, that are happening.
If you can just paint a picture of everyone having a personal AI agent, how would the world look like in that situation?
I think it's very much like, the way it would be is, and I saw one example of this being shared. It's kind of like, in your pocket at this you have a coach, a business strategist, a lawyer, a doctor, all of it available in your pocket. Someone you can, and who knows about all your details. And when we create this thing, but obviously in a very safe, private way, that is only available to you. That's how I see it. And for me, it's like it just makes it personalized for you, um, makes things accessible to you. There are times I need some legal advice. There are times I need, medical advice. But right now, yes, it's not there. And medical is a very sensitive area because giving medical advice, come with liability.
Yeah.
But we have to see, like, I think technology is getting there where there's enough data has been done that we can give fairly accurate advice in that way.
Yeah, I mean, this brings me to a point where I tend to think if everything is going to be done by machines or AI, what is going to be left for us to do?
So let me tell you one thing. The World Economic Forum came out with this report on the future of jobs. And they said, like, AI is going to create 97 million jobs. But it will also eliminate 85 million jobs.
Wow.
So but there's still a net positive 12 million jobs in the sense. So to your question, what's going to happen? Yes, it's true. This is going to be happen much faster. Many type of works will change. I would like to use, like, they will adapt in the sense they'll become more AI enabled. But there's a lot of new jobs, new functions are being. So obviously, there's a lot of potential work for learning scientists, data scientists, AI engineers, more on the technology side. There's a big shortage right now, right? I can tell you, we don't have enough engineers available and to do all the work that we want to do. And that's where a lot of training is going on. A lot of countries and institutions are putting focus. A lot of companies even have come out with programs like Microsoft, IBM. There's a big, I think, GITEX, which happened a couple of weeks back. Microsoft made an announcement with the UAE government about developing programs where they're going to enable the workforce in this thing. So there's a lot of, I think it's an opportunity to reskill, adapt the workforce. And a lot of times I would say it's, again, this is if a company and organization concerned about their workforce, the advantage every company has, whatever workforce you have, they're aware of the way you do. Every person has knowledge, expertise on the current company's products, the way they work.
Yeah.
Now it's on them to kind of like take them through a path to make them future ready for the jobs of tomorrow.
Let's just break these two numbers down. I mean, you mentioned 85 million job losses, right? And 92 million?
97 new.
97 million new jobs. So let's talk about the job losses first. 85 million. That is a huge number. I mean, to my understanding, the job losses will result from the automation that will happen. A lot of things will be taken over by AI. A lot of routine things will be done by AI. There will not be a need for human beings. So, of course, I mean, these 85 million people, of course, some of them will reskill. What are they going to do? If they don't reskill, what is their future?
I think so. These are areas like, things where very mundane type of work is going on. I think like data entry people, the customer service, some of those areas will definitely get impacted. There is, I think, it's an opportunity because again, we're not talking about something that is very out of reach. A lot of learning and is out there. A lot of ways to upskill and retrain yourself is there. I think if you want to talk about like how do you deal with this situation, like in terms of the future, I think it is on everyone if that they first of all start using these things. So for example, you gave an example like you're using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is available. There's a free version. It's not like something. Now you can start making use of ChatGPT, start understanding how to use it. So there will be tomorrow for the same type of company, and I'm just using ChatGPT as an example, but an AI, there will be someone who knows how to use the AI tool to do better job versus someone who does not know how to use it. And just to give another example, for example, if you are a company who does whatever type of work, you provide a certain service, and right now you can handle 100 customers. Tomorrow, with your AI enabled workforce, you will have the capability to handle 1,000 customers.
Correct.
And that will make a difference. So you don't have to, let's say you have 10 employees. So with those 10 employees, right now you would think, okay, if I need to handle 1,000 customers, I need to increase my workforce by that factor, right? If my 10 employees, with 10 employees, I can handle 100 customers, and I need to do 1,000, I need to hire another 90 people. So the numbers are in that way. Like you don't gonna, when you talk about those numbers, it's not about the fact that you're not gonna hire 90 more people. You will make use of your 10 people and enable them and be able to handle those customers to expand your business in the same capacity. The other thing I would say is, now that you're an AI enabled business or a thing, you will need some AI specialist. You will need there's a whole concept about responsible AI, AI ethics. You will need people in your company who will be making sure that all the AI tools you're using, they are working under the right ethics in a very responsible manner. They're not, your data is very important. Data is not going out in the public.
Yeah.
Whatever decisions, you will always need people who, we're not looking at a world where we're just gonna say, okay, now computer is gonna do everything, and
Yeah, of course.
you and I are just gonna sit here and let machines do the thing. We will, and there's a lot of debate and discussion on this, which is called a responsible use of AI.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are concerned that's why there's, especially in EU and Europe, they're putting a lot of regulations. I just mentioned, like Meta as a company, they're not allowing them to operate in EU for some of these reasons.
Yeah.
Because they want certain guardrails on how this would be used in a way.
Yeah.
Now with this use of AI and the technology, the speed things are moving, the reaction time, you don't have that reaction time. You're just
Correct.
we're talking to Google for the, in a very long time now, Google is actually threatened. Google as a business, which was, predominant, everybody knows, you go on Google to search, and Microsoft tried few things with Bing.
Yeah.
Different search engines came up, but Google, even right now, it has roughly 85 to 90% market share on the
Yeah.
whole search business. Facebook and Meta came across because people were going there and doing some of that. They were the only one coming. But again, one company has 85, 90%, and then Microsoft, Meta, everybody else has the rest, 10 to 15%.
Very important point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, do you think Google will remain relevant in the next 5 years?
I think these companies, they'll evolve, adapt, would be there. But if you ask me, in 5 years, would we be going on Google search? Maybe not. We might be using something else.
That's the point I was trying to make.
In fact, I don't think we'll be going and typing. It'll be more of, I'll be talking to my assistant and giving tasks. I think we'll also get away from this thing where very single conversation. It'll be more in the sense for example, right now, I'll give one example. If I were planning to have a lunch or dinner with you, my first thing is I'm going to go on Google search, look for a restaurant. So in the future, I'm just going to tell my assistant that, I want to see Tariq on certain day, book lunch for me. And my assistant now going to take care of all of these things. So I'm not going on Google search. I'm not going to know anything.
Yeah.
I'm just telling my digital assistant to take care of this. And my digital assistant will talk to your digital assistant to find out what's your availability. So it'll be like our digital assistant will sort it out. and make sure all of this comes across without us going through any of this stuff.
So essentially, we have digital assistants. They are going to be taking care of all of our work in a way. Whatever
Most of our work.
routine work that there is, and they can handle that. Of course, they probably will do some complicated work as well, in my view. What is left for us to do then?
So I think as a lot of these things go away, so as humans, we're going to be in this amazing era of creativity. As humans, what I personally think, what differentiates us is the fact that we create. We create original content, we write books, thoughts, ideas, art. Like this podcast is a creation, in essentially. So we're going to be freed up to spend our time in much more ways. Now, how we spend that time, that comes to you individually, I mean, you'll have free time maybe, and that someone want to spend that time just watching TikTok videos on YouTube, that's up to them. Another person will use that time maybe to create some art, to follow their passion for photography, to follow a certain sport, take care of them physically, doing a lot of things which require more human things, and helping people. And helping could be anything: conversation, seeing people at hospital, doing fundraising, all sorts of things.
So what you're essentially saying is that more, the activities that require real human interaction will have better time.
Yeah.
They'll have more attention, I guess, when we can do our work more efficiently.
I mean, if you look at what's going around, it's not like we're doing all the great things. And it's not about technology, it's the way we're using technology, right?
Yeah.
All those things. But no, I think, and I feel like, like UAE, Dubai is a great example. It's a place where so many different nationalities come. Everybody's here. They know we're doing certain amount of work, coming from different backgrounds, religions. And it's one of the only very few countries which is open to all other countries, not getting involved in any sort of political things. Just here to do the things. People come and do the work. So I feel, and I've been in Dubai for 4 years, like Dubai is one of those, it gives you that model. It's a place where people come, all they want to do is just work, and people spend their time with following their passions, whatever their interests are. If somebody's interests are to do something creative, they're doing that. People, so I feel like I'm hoping it would go into this model where people are making good use of their time.
That's a valid observation. I think humans do need to pay more attention to their relationships, and I think technology will help in that regard. Just talking about relationships, we tend to talk about emotional intelligence a lot of the time. Do you think AI will be emotionally intelligent, or it'll be something that will remain with humans?
It'll be a function, like there is technology right now, we call it sentiment analysis. It is kind of like based on whenever you put some content, it can detect the tones. You've seen that, right? You can tell ChatGPT, change the tone, make it professional, make it funny. So technology is there. We understand the science of what we know the different emotions, what being happy means, being angry and sad at a technical level. So it's there. It's now not going to be in a true human form in the sense, but it'll be some sort of a controlled, managed version will be there.
Now, if technology is going to do everything for us, we have a lawyer in our pocket, we have a healthcare provider in our pocket, we have someone to talk to in our pocket, take care of our emotions. We can talk to our technology or AI all the time.
So a lot of things on that level will happen. And then I think my view is some of the things, I just feel like a lot of tasks, things that we as humans don't enjoy, will be taken care by the machine. And I think net things that we enjoy, whatever, and the different preference, right? Somebody might just enjoy, just taking a walk, a leisurely walk. Somebody might just enjoy sitting in a park. And the person might enjoy spending time in the gym. And the person might just enjoy like reading a book. And we will get a lot more time back in our lives. So I feel like we'll have more control on how we want to spend that time without worrying about all these things. So
Fair.
that's I think it'll be the future, at least the way I see it, is just going to be a very net positive time. And technology, there's going to be a lot of technology helping us as humans. And we, again, that's why, the role of government, the point around responsible, safe use of AI, it's very important. All the regulation, what gets allowed, where we draw boundaries, uh, and where we allow. So that's very, very important in the coming years. And that will determine, what, where things get blurred and where they
Yeah,
don't.
of course, the governments can bring regulations and regulate the entire ecosystem the way they should, and to make it safe for us. We're going to be creating robots, but of course, there will be naughty people around as well who will give control to robots to control us. There are hackers around who hack websites and systems, and they hack governments as well at the moment. uh, how are we going to make sure that technology, in this case AI, is utilized in a way that it doesn't end up destroying the world?
Yeah, no, I think valid points, but a lot of these, at least my view is, these are Hollywood scenarios, essentially. It's part of science fiction. There is, this comes down to, the investments we make on the, again, on the cyber side of things. While there's a lot of development going on AI products and all, there's again a lot of work going on the cybersecurity side of things. Like we talk about, like transaction modeling, uh, uh, and being able to monitor how systems are being used. So similar to how, uh, like we're talking about all these consumer AI products, there's also a lot of development going on how AI technologies can monitor vast amount of data, can do a lot of prediction and do that. So there's always going to be, there will be always, bad people. We cannot rule that out, but there are always going to be people who will be, taking care of them, because, and I think that's just a social thing. We're never going to be in a place where everybody's just, a good person. But you're right, the consequences here are very, very hard. And this is where I think, like, at an organized, or for all the companies and organizations, they need to understand the harm some of these tools could bring. And that's why they need the right controls and the right safety measures. So, we're talking about ChatGPT, like every time. Recently, they released their new model 4.0, and it was trained on vast amount of data, and it, whatever amount of time it took to develop it, but a substantial amount of time was developed on the safety side of it, on putting the right controls and training. And that is actually one of the biggest topic discussion, AI safety. A lot of people have lot of different opinions on these things, on, how much regulation is appropriate, how much control is appropriate, what do we allow, what do we not allow. And when you hear things like from people like, Elon Musk, Sam Altman of OpenAI, Satya Nadella of Microsoft, all these guys. So it's always good to hear these guys, what their opinion. But I would say, um, at least my view is that from purely from a technology side, we made some mistakes when the whole social media thing happened. And there's a lot of understanding, recognition, and in fact, I was hearing this talk where they were also wondering, because when the whole social media thing happened, like government didn't really do anything about it. They just allowed things to happen, and now we saw some results of that in the sense. But this time on the AI side of it, governments are involved at the highest level. This is a point of discussion. There have been many conferences, summits at the UN level, and all of these around how to handle this. So I feel like, yeah, there's the right amount of attention to manage this. And, when so many people are involved, then we'll have something which moves in the right direction.
One final question. What is your one piece of advice for individuals in terms of utilizing AI in their lives, in terms of businesses and startups?
I would say let's start from an individual level. One thing is, AI is something not to be afraid of. I think there's a lot of sensational and like should avoid it. Look at things positively. So at an individual level, I think a lot of people are already getting used to ChatGPT, these type of tools. I believe McKinsey got some survey done last year on the workplaces, and I'm not sure if it was global or if it was just targeted towards US or not, but 65% people in the workforce are already using AI tools like Microsoft Copilot and Google Assistant, those type of things. So people are using it, they're doing it. If anybody is not aware of them, I would say it is good to go through it, understand, and go into the fundamental. There's a lot of videos on YouTube. There are a lot of courses available. One course I recommend, I've done this, is deeplearning.ai. They have many good courses. There's a course called AI for Everyone. Either it's free or it's very cheap. They have a lot of good content. Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, whatever form of learning works for you, or just search, AI podcast,
Yeah.
or and those things. So this is a great time. It's a very interesting area. I mean, it's a area of passion for me. So maybe I get more excited about it. But look, I would say this is something you should look into, and I would really encourage people to go and understand the fundamental. Like, when you talk about what is AI, what is machine learning,
Yeah.
what is deep learning, I'll just throw in a little bit of technical term, what is a transformer architecture. And you don't have to, again, don't be afraid of it. I will tell you, by the way, to understand AI, you don't need to know coding. So just to very clarify,
Of course.
this is not about you have to go into deep coding type of things. All you have to understand is how do I use it, and then on a company level, on an organization, and for all the startups, whatever you're doing, as you do this, is to start thinking, how can I apply this to my business? How can I improve my work?
Correct.
If I'm doing certain things, how can I use technologies that are available from all these places like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, all of these, do it. And one other thing I would say, it could be overwhelming because there's a lot going on. So best thing is, just if you find something, just stay focused, spend some time. At this point, maybe it's helping you write emails better. Maybe it's helping you do ideas generation better. Whatever it's doing it, just do that. Spend time in there, don't jump from one or and just go through it. But I always feel like understand the fundamentals of how it works. Because the more you get into it, you'll start realizing how you can make it use for
Correct.
yourself
That's right.
individually as a business. And you mentioned startups. So yeah, again, no better time to do a startup than now, because you don't need a army of people.
True.
You can do many things. Like I think we're going to a time where I would say a 5-6 person company
Yeah.
will be able to compete with a 200 person company of today
I absolutely agree with that.
and
Absolutely agree.
offer same service at a cheaper price with a much more better
Efficiencies.
margin
Yeah.
and a much better customer service, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I see it happening in the coming time.
Well, thank you so much, Abrar. It's been a very insightful discussion. I've learned a lot, of course, for my personal use of AI, and of course, we'll apply a number of things, of course, in our business, and we'll be educating our clients too. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
so much.
time.
It was my pleasure.
Thank
To
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.